Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Note Closer Show. As always, Scott Carson, excited to be here today. Today's episode is something that was inspired from something that happened this afternoon. And you may crack up you may see the image and wonder what the heck I'm talking about. I already know what the heck I'm talking about. And that's something I want to share with you all in a little different light. I think we've all seen this movie before. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, right? And I don't know, probably seen it 100 times religiously over the time from watching as a young kid. Every time it would be on TV. I grew up when we only really had about 3 channels, right? ABC, NBC, CBS. Oh, don't forget PBS. We had 4 channels to watch. We didn't have cables, kids. Like I was a senior in high school. Didn't really have a VCR until I was a sophomore, but we would get this come on and we would watch it. Never seen the big screen because I always watched on TV. It's been on the big screen a few times here, but today Steph reached out and said, "Hey, it's the Wizard of Oz is on the big screen here at Alamo Draft House. I'm gonna go see it this afternoon." I was like, "No, didn't want to." I had actually another appointment at the same time, and that got canceled last minute. So I was like, "You know what? Let's go see it." And as I sat down to watch the movie, what's great about Alamo Draft House is they always share some previews and interesting information. They'll have some fan videos and stuff like that along the way to kind of introduce you. Before they introduced this movie, they came out and said, this movie's been around since 1939. It's like 85-year anniversary of the Wizard of Oz. It came out in 39 in the golden era of Hollywood because there were so many great movies that came out in 39. It was up for Best Picture, but didn't win it because of Gone with the Wind and about 5 or 6 other amazing movies. And this obviously, I think it's all known for the fact that it went from black and white to color, one of the first movies to do that. But as I was sitting through this movie, I'm going to watch it. I'll probably doze off halfway through, but that's okay. Should miss that afternoon nap, have a salad for lunch, and then just enjoy it. Sing along a little bit because we all know the songs, right? But the thing is, as I'm sitting there watching through this movie, I'm literally like amazed at all the information. Because here's the thing: when I walked out of this movie today, I had a whole different appreciation for the movie. I wasn't like listening to, Dark Side of the Moon, all right, or I wasn't micro dosing like some people have a tendency to do in Austin or other places. No, I just went no beer, no alcohol, nothing on the high side. Don't do that anyway. But it really, when I walked out, I was like, that might be, when I finished with the movie today, I walked out of that. I said, that might be the greatest tale of entrepreneurship ever told. The greatest entrepreneur's journey ever. You think about that. I laughed because the other day, one of my friends, Molly Mahoney, out there was mentioning, I'm looking for a good family movie to go watch. It's a good, and people are throwing all these different things out. I recommend one of the Red Friend Grows, which always makes me cry. But nobody talked about the Wizard of Oz. And I was like, that's great. I mean, because we've all seen this, right? We've all seen it. No, it's not a journey about alternative lifestyles or people taking it over. The rainbow's there, the Yellow Brick Road. People have tried to take the meaning of Wizard of Oz and apply to different things. But maybe I'm doing that myself right here. But I think if you sit with me for a few minutes here and have me go through things and the symbolism and the analogy, I guarantee that wasn't how it was written. I mean, I've written the books as a young, not written, read the books as a young boy, read all the Wizard of Oz stories. But this movie today really made me walk away with a different appreciation for the movie. And I think all of you should go out there and watch it if it's available, especially its 85th anniversary. Come on. A great movie. There's very few movies that are around that long that do so well and really hold up to the test of time. So that's where I want to start you guys with, because I know so many of us out there as entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs. And it doesn't have to be just in the real estate side or the note investing side. It can be anything that you're doing can apply to the tale of entrepreneurship. Because let's face it, the movie starts off very black and white. And, Dorothy, who's actually signed on with Warner Brother at the age of like 13 or 14, this was not her first movie. When the movie came out in 39, it did well for a little while, but then World War II took off. So it didn't have great, distribution in Europe. It actually did better in 10 years later when they re-released the film. Of course, Dorothy was a little bit older then. But the movie starts off black and white and very symbolic of, I think, most people going through life, living the day in, day out, the doldrums of life. They wake up, they go to work, they're doing the same thing over and over again. with the, the status quo. And that's what happens to a lot of us. You think about that, we get in that rat race, okay? And for Dorothy, her big why obviously is her family, but also more importantly, it's Toto, right? It's Toto is her why, right? And it really takes something happening or about to happen for her to have a shift in the mindset, a shift of what she wants to say. Instead of being on the farm surrounded by Auntie M and family, she's got to start off on her journey. And we got to love Auntie M and her uncle. I mean, they're like, they're like her, they raised her up. They're like our parents. Our parents are always very protective of us. Our guardians, whether it is your parents or your grandparents or your aunt and uncle, they're always there, like, protect yourself. Oh, don't be so dramatic, Dorothy. They're there to protect us, but they may not see a bigger picture of what's going on. They may not understand our dream or our fears. And Dorothy's biggest fear is obviously that, evil, the Karen of the neighborhood, the first ever Karen caught on videotape, Mrs. Gulch, also known as the evil witch of the West. But we know Toto went in and bit her cat or chases her cat in the garden. Miss Gulch wants to take her to the sheriff and have him destroyed. And it's that fear of something happening to our why. In this movie, Toto is Dorothy's why. We all have a why, right? For some of us, it's our Totos. For some of it's our cats, our family, our kids. It's a symbolic nature that if something may not happen to us, but it's going to happen to our why, we know at that point we'll need to do something else. Like I can think of my mom. Her big why was our family. And when my dad's eyesight and health got worse, she had to go on her own journey. She had to do something different because the day in, day out wasn't working. All right. We've all got Mrs. Glutches out there. We've all got the people that are rude. I had a Miss Glutch that was a Mrs. Crawford in high school. All right. Yeah, that was just like anti-athletics and was just could not see around it. We've all got those Karens around us and those people that say you can't do anything with limiting beliefs. And that's what it is. We often think of them as a witch or another word that rhymes with that. You know what I mean? But it's those people that often motivate us to take the next step, to get out of our comfort zone. Because if we really don't take any action unless we are truly pushed outside of our comfort zone, rarely will we get outside of our comfort zone on our own unless you're of the 1%ers. A lot of people won't move unless something happens. Maybe it's a financial hiccup. Maybe it's a health hiccup. Maybe it's family. I don't know what it is, but for a lot of people, it's finances right now. You got to get off your keister, got to get outside your comfort zone, do something. And that really starts Dorothy on her journey. She leaves, grabs Toto, let's go. We're going to run away, packs her one bag, is walking along. And guess what? She comes across the traveling salesman, the traveling carny. And this really representative of our early coaches in life. If you're an athlete, you've got coaches. If you're in the band or the choir, you've got a coach, instructor, somebody who helps kind of guide you on their way, maybe makes you think of it's your idea to send you back home, wants the best for you, but also wants you to be safe, but is going to help you guide you, gives you the idea, some things to go. And that's what this represented to me when I'm watching that. Like, very good. We don't have a crystal ball, but if you do, here's what it would kind of show. And that takes us, obviously, Dorothy going back home, and then the big event, the twister, the Kansas tornado coming through. This is the big event that finally hits home. You can avoid it for a while, but at some point, it's going to hit you, and either you're prepared or not prepared. And when she gets in there, she's late. She can't get in the storm cellar, can't get in there with everybody else because that's not going to fit. Doing what everybody else is doing is not going to help you get to where you want to be. It's not going to solve anything. And therefore, she's forced to, hide in the house. She hits her head, and then she's up in the tornado, the twister, and all these fears, all the things that she thinks she's going to miss, from Auntie M sewing to her uncle, the cows, the chickens, or the farmhands rowing in the boat, all the fears that are taking on the journey. And that's really limiting beliefs. If you think about when we start off, I'm not good enough. I can't do that. I'm not capable of. But a lot of times we have to go do that. You have to set those things aside. I can remember. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good. They're not going to talk to me. They're not going to invest with me. I'll just stick to what I'm doing. That's not going to work. And this is what that represents me, is that our fears of Mrs. Glitch turn into the witch. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough, and doggone it, people don't like me, right? But guess what? sometimes you have to go on that path anyway, whether you like it or not. And guess what happened? You land somewhere. Maybe you read a book. For me, it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad originally. For some people, it's Outwitting the Devil. For others, it's Think and Grow Rich. Some people, it's the Bible. But when you land and you've read something or something has hit home to you, you understand, you go to your first real estate club meeting or your first conference or something like that, suddenly your eyes are opened and you start seeing, instead of black and white, you see a million shades of gray. You see a million opportunities. Life is open to you now on things that you've never seen before. And that's the awakening of obviously Dorothy and Oz. Of course, she lands on the Wicked Witch of the East, kills her. Kills her limiting beliefs. For some people, it might be the different. I had to chuckle a lot, thought about that. Oh, maybe that's the politicians in the East. We land on their head, we get rid of them, take their resources, and go do something. I don't know. But we start to kill our limiting beliefs. Like, oh, wait a second, that wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. I got beyond my fears. I can actually do some of this. I can do some stuff with that. And that's great. And that's great. But you know what happens next? She meets a mentor. She meets a coach. Glenda the Good Witch. Are you a witch? We need those. We need mentors. We need people to guide us along the path, our journey, to point us in the right direction. Okay? That's one of the most important things about this. Is so I joke about the entrepreneurship, because it's all about coaching, getting a coach. But Glenda represents that good. It's like, hey, you're on your own journey. You can do what you want to do, but you need to follow. You just take the path and it'll take you on your way. Follow what I say, follow my path to success, and you'll get there. Of course, the people from Munchkin Land, that made me think immediately of all the people that we help along the way, the clients, the people that buy our houses, the people that are in our notes that we end up modifying, keeping in their homes, the investors we help along the way. You know, I kind of cracked up. We always crack up at the little Munchkin boys. You know, the mayor and his crew of people out there who are the experts. They think they may be the more savvy investors we borrow money from. But these are the people that we help along the way. And it's all about helping a lot more. Yes, by Dorothy landing in Oz, she killed the Wicked Witch and is able to help liberate these people. And a lot of people need to be liberated. They need help in some sort of fashion. What you do is helpful, whether it's doing note deals or buying and flipping property or doing a wholesale or whatever, offering owner financing or whatever your path is, helping people rescue with animals or cats or dogs or whatever it might be. We all have a journey to go on, and we help a lot more people than if we just sat in our house scared to get outside. And a lot of them will help you along the journey. We'll point you in the right direction, and we'll help you on to the next one. That's really, but then suddenly guess what shows up? Our trolls. You can't do that. You have no experience. Our deep inner thoughts are Karens. You can't do that. I'll kill you, you know. I'll take your little dog too, you know. And you just, at some point, you just kind of ignore them and realize, I'm going to go on my journey. Yes, they're going to pop up along the way, but to stay where I'm at is not going to solve anything. And so we go on our path. We go on our yellow brick road. This is the entrepreneurship path. And a lot of times, many entrepreneurs, it may be straight for a little while. Then we come to a path. Which way do we go? And you remember, that's when she meets the scarecrow, because he's like, you can go to the left, you can go to the right. Both are nice, right? But only one path would really technically lead you to success. Everybody's got a little bit different path to take, but you have your path. And what does the scarecrow represent? I think they represent entrepreneurs, fellow entrepreneurs that are on the same journey with us. Now, of course, scarecrows suffer from not having a brain. We all know there's plenty of entrepreneurs, investors out there that are kind of a jack of all trades. They're all very knowledgeable, educated, but they say a lot of stupid things. He even quoted it. Some people with brains do an awful lot of talking. Well, some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. We all know that, especially right now in politics. But you know what? Hey, we all need people to go with us. Some of us have different strengths. Some of us have different weaknesses. But if you can go with people along the path, you'll go farther and faster versus trying to do it yourself. Because if you have coaches, you have people to help guide you, you'll make less mistakes and get there faster versus trying to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, right? Of course, after that in their journey, they're getting hungry. They come across that forest of apple trees and start picking apple trees. I kind of summoned this one to the people that we see along the path, the investors that are kind of stuck in their ways, that get angry when you ask them questions. And asking the questions is the apple. Of course, they start throwing the apples back because they get angry. And some people are like that. You don't want to be an asshole and just pick people to death and not give anything back or help out in some more fashion. You want to be respectful of them. But that's kind of what the apple trees reminded me of. Investors that, I'm not going to give you any information. I'm going to hide my content. I'm going to not share that. You got to pay for everything. That's what I saw with that. Of course, after that, Forrest, as they're picking up apples, who does she come across? Who does Dorothy come across? The Tin Man. The Tin Man with no heart, who got stuck chopping down a cherry tree or apple tree and rusted solid. And that made me think of so many entrepreneurs out there that they get stuck doing just one thing, or they get stuck in their way and they can't see the forest through the trees. They can't adjust because of their limiting beliefs. I can't do that because I only know this one thing. And we all need a little oil. Sometimes we need oil to lube up our joints to help us understand things and to be able to hear and learn from others around us. But not having a heart is not a good thing. You got to have a heart in what you do. Otherwise, you will get very tired, very fixed, and eventually get burnt out. And I've got investors that have been investors for 20, 30 years who do not love life. They're doing the same thing over and over and over again, but there's no passion. There's no heart to what they do. And they would love to do something different, but they're stuck in their way without any oil to lube up. They are the Tin Man of entrepreneurs. Of course, after the Tin Man, they meet the Cowardly Lion. And we all know those people. Sometimes we have the Cowardly Lion inside talking to us. Oh, I'm scareful. The Cowardly Lion starts off very, as a bully, wanting to bite Toto, but then suddenly starts crying as Dorothy slaps him across the face. Sometimes we need that to put people in their place a little bit. Sometimes we need to slap our own face, being like, realize that, hey, what you're scared of doesn't really exist. We all need that courage. The Cowardly Lion had no courage. To think about that, there's so many people out there that'll do one thing, they'll get in one aspect, but the minute they're asked to do something outside the normal or outside their comfort zone, they clam up, they get scared, and they run the opposite direction. How many times have you done that? We all have done that, right? We all have a little Cowardly Lion inside of us. Sometimes it's good to turn a cheek and go the other way and be smart. Other times you've got to stand up. You've got to be courageous when other people do. The great line in the film at the very end is obviously he's awarded the medal for, and that all of our heroes, our war heroes, once a year, twice a year, they're paraded out with medals. They have to be courageous a couple of times. There's a great line from the Marvel community. Being a hero isn't washing your teeth a hero, waking up a hero, eating your breakfast, drinking your coffee here. It's being a hero 1, 2, or 3 times. And that's what you have to be as an entrepreneur. You have to be courageous. You have to get up and go do things that may not be, natural to you. Picking up the phone, following up, sending an email, saying no to family time to go do something that's going to help you get beyond that. We all struggle with this at some point, but those that have the courage to do something different, to go against the grain, to say no to bowling night, to saying no to drinking beers with your buddies or going shopping with the girls, and being focused on your business, on your path, because they may not be on your path with you. They may still be on that black and white Kansas. The Cowardly Lion is often many people's favorite character because it represents so many of us out there. Of course, after the journey, we were often thrown different distractions, the field of poppies that the Wicked Witch throws to show up on our path. We're always, shown so many distractions along the way. You name them: family, work, hurricanes, different opportunities. You got to be focused on your path and say no to things to say yes. I call it the Squirrel Syndrome, shiny object syndrome. And you have that happen unless you're focused on it. And sometimes you need that coach to come back and sprinkle a little snow on you, like in the movie, to get you out of your head and get back on the right path. It's easy to be distracted. Every entrepreneur struggles with that. But you got to be focused, and you got to say no to say yes to your dreams and where you want to accomplish. course, after the poppies. They arrive at the big, beautiful Emerald City. And for us as entrepreneurs, that's whatever your Emerald City is, your big goal. Maybe it's the big house, the big car, the boat, the fancy car, the fancy clothes, you know, the Instagram model, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it might be. Okay. The boat, the yacht. That's what Oz kind of represents for a lot of folks. Oh, it's the end of it's the you know, the Emerald City at the end of the rainbow. What are we think we're targeting? A lot of times it's material things. A lot of other things is maybe something else, but it's that what are we trying to achieve? You got to have a path. You've got to have a compass to get to it. For that really represents, you know, the Oz, city of Oz represents that north point on that compass. What are you heading for in one of your journey? Yes, the path has been winding left and right, but where do you ultimately want to end up with? What's your 5-year goal, 10-year goal? What are your plans to do that? That's what kind of Oz represents to me in the movie. Of course, Oz is full of amazing people, and I kind of found, I kind of chuckled a little bit. They're the people that are doing the same things that you are doing. They're the people on the path. They're the people that have found it, the people that are success, the people that respect you for being on your journey. We know that's rarer air than where you start off with. You know, they're even let you come in. I mean, you start. I forgot about the part of the movie where they go in and get their hair done and get all get made ready to see the wizard. But that's what happens a lot of times. We start to dress a little bit differently. You know, we walk a little bit differently. We look a little fancy because we're starting to accomplish some things. And you surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are also doing the same things. They're the people of Oz, and we all want to surround ourselves with the people of Oz, right? Of course, meeting the wizard is like meeting our heroes, meeting the people out there that maybe we've read their book, maybe we've watched them on TV. You know, for me, some of my heroes in the past when I was a young boy was like Nolan Ryan, the pitcher for the Rangers, the Astros, most strikeouts. When I started reading books, my heroes were Robert Kiyosaki, Tom Hopkins. For some people out there, it's like Grant Cardone's the big name down, or Gary Vaynerchuk. I've met Gary Vaynerchuk, nice guy. But for us, those heroes often appear like wizards. Like, oh my God, they're amazing. They're godlike. Okay. Oh, the big, mighty, and powerful Oz. Okay. We'll get to those things. But like me, it can be very intimidating. And asking a question, what would you do? Well, I would go do this thing. This is the one thing I would go do. Great. What's that one thing? I would go to the witch's palace to get her broom. Well, what's the witch's palace look like? It's that big new journey, that big new goal that scares the shit out of us, right? We've all got those ideas of things that scare. Maybe it's that big deal. Maybe instead of buying a $50,000 property, you're buying a $500,000 property, or talking to somebody bigger. You're facing your fears too. You're getting outside of your comfort zone. That's what the witch's castle represents. And of course, you've got the monkeys, the witch's monkeys, and her warriors, right? Those are all the trolls that will pop up as you start taking action and having success. Guess what? You've got all those inner fears of the witch inside of you, but the trolls out there saying negative things. You will never have somebody doing more than you saying negative things about you, because they understand the journey. They understand what's taken to get there. They understand the overcoming of the fears to get to where you want to be, not just settling for the status quo or the bare minimum of barely getting by. Aren't you tired of being tired of getting by? That's what the monkeys represent. More trolls. All right. And then what does it mean? Well, you face your fears. You face overwhelming odds, and a lot of times, and that can be in your head. Oh, how all these things can make you feel not worthy, not smart enough, not good enough. But guess what? Oftentimes, the simplest things help you find success. And in the movie, what was the simplest thing? A bucket of water to overcome the fears. Taking the simple thing that you may have overthought things. Oh, the water won't work. I got to find something with some vinegar or some acid or something else to find explosive. No, a bucket of water melted the witch. I'm melting. Ah! And when you overcome your fears, just like in the movie, what happened in the movie? The soldiers and the monkeys turned around and gave respect. All hail Dorothy! All hail Dorothy! You'll have that happen. Half the time, your trolls, when they see you overcome something big, they're either going to be like, oh, my goodness, I'm going to change my opinion, or they're going to go away. They're going to fly off and go try to find somebody else. That's going to happen. And you're going to find those things happen on major events, on things that you share, things that you're doing. Big milestones are always seems to be a mental challenge of somebody coming in, or those inner thoughts coming in saying, you can't do it. But guess what? You can do it. Just like Dorothy did. She went and we brought you the broomstick of the Wicked Witch of the West as this ultimate goal of this ultimate thing of what I've achieved. I will now be godlike. But you know what happens when you meet your heroes? You find out that they're just ordinary guys or ordinary women. There's nothing fancy about them except the fact that they know how to use their tools. They know how to use their systems. They seem like they're doing exponentially bigger, but they're just an ordinary guy that wipes their ass just like you and I do. They put their panties or pants on one leg at a time. You know what? They have fears too. Just like you. Their fears are just bigger. But you realize that they're just ordinary individuals that overcame their fears, their own trials and tribulations. Obviously, the wizard was at the Omaha State Fair and was showing off his balloon, and it got blown away, and he landed in Kansas and went through his own journey. But that's the same. That's not saying that you can't do the same thing. But the thing about the wizard's balloon, that's his journey. That's his story to tell. It's not your story. And a lot of us when we surround ourselves with great people, or we work for somebody, we think that, hey, just because we're a part of it, it's good to learn. It's good to be a part of it and to learn the ways. But at some point, you got to do your own thing. That's what I found in that. When Dorothy gets left behind because Toto chases the lady's cat in Oz, and then the balloon takes off. He's like, I don't know how to stop this. I don't know how this works. And she's distraught. Well, that's going to happen. I've got friends that have worked for amazing individuals, gotten coached by some of the biggest names in finance and real estate and education, stuff like that. And there's always a bit of a downfall for them when they leave going out on their own, because now they have to leave. They have to have their way. And that's what happens to all of us. At some point, you have to step up. Waiting for somebody else to take you home, show you the way. At some point, it's you. You can't be shown the way more than you've been shown. You actually have to take the action to do it. And that's where the ruby slippers comes in. All along, as Glenda, the good witch, tells her, you've always had the power to succeed. You've always had the power to go home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You all have your own ruby slippers to help you achieve success. And now, what is home? I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I've got a lot of good friends, have done some big things, but they're not good people, or they've struggled with their family. They've been divorced. I've been divorced before. They've been divorced, or they've been divorced multiple times. Their kids don't like them. Their friends don't like them because they're just assholes. They're too busy trying to get more and more and more, and realizing it's your why that makes more sense. If you can be tied into your why and your family and be understanding of the people along the way, the people that support you from the beginning, those are going to be your best friends. Because guess what? As good things happen, you'll have more people surround your thing. As bad things happen, all those people that were on will lead away. And usually all that's left will be your friends and family, the people that love you the most. And guess what? Just like in the movies, Dorothy's trying to explain what happened to her. They're not going to understand in a lot of cases because they've not been through that journey on themselves. Yeah, maybe they've been there part of the way, but they don't see the full picture. It's like I always joke about trying to explain what we've done and where I've been and accomplished. It's great. People don't always appreciate it. And the people that you go along with you, your loved ones, they understand. And that's why it's important for you guys to understand what's important and make that a priority. All the riches of the world won't do you any good if you don't have anybody there to enjoy it with. But if you're struggling to get by, you're struggling to make money, you're struggling because of what's going on in the economy, the recession, you can't sit around waiting. That hurricane or that tornado is already at your doorstep. And you can't do the same thing that you've been doing before, just to hide in that shutter. You got to get up. You got to take your own journey. You got to face your fears, face the witches out there, face the Karens, face the Mrs. Gulches out there, and go out and take some action. And I hope that you guys find this interesting, found it funny, whatever. I just wanted to share that with you guys tonight after sitting through the movie today, or this episode. and encourage you all to take action. If you want to accomplish something, you can accomplish it, but you have your own journey. Nobody can drag you along the way. You've got to put one step in front of another and skip your way down that yellow brick road. It's going to have some good, some bad, some ugly, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's worth it. All right. So go out, take some action, buddy, and we'll see you at the top.